Hi, you're watching FRCD on CAN TV. Family Resource Center on Disabilities is the Region 1 Parent Training and Information Center in Illinois. You can reach us at 312-939-3513. We encourage you to visit our website at www.frcd.org and follow us on Twitter at FRCDPTI. You can also find us on Facebook, and we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube page. Again, hello. My name is Paula Wills from Family Resource Center on Disabilities, and we are back to discuss that time of year again, back to school. So a little bit about what we do at Family Resource Center on Disabilities, or the purpose of CAN TV, is we discuss special education, parent advocacy, and resources for families of children with disability. And Family Resource Center on Disabilities is a parent training and information center, as I mentioned before. And what we are charged to do is to make sure that you, the parent, understand your rights in the special education system, because parents are their child's best advocate. And speaking of parent advocacy, again, it is back to school time. I know some of you guys your kiddos are going to be starting school, I believe next week, next Monday. So a little earlier than what we're used to, but hey, no time like the present, right? So today we're going to talk about some tips about getting ready and preparing for that school year. Depending on your relationship with school, sometimes it's a very exciting time of the year. Sometimes it's a little, nerve-wracking, depending on where your child is at their education, at their educational career. Maybe they're just starting kindergarten. Maybe they're going on to the 6th grade. Maybe they're going to high school. Maybe this is their senior year. Either way, there's definitely going to be some jitters, there's some concerns, but you know what? No matter what happens, it's great to be prepared. So we're going to talk about a couple of tips. And the first tip that I want to start out with is review your child's IEP. It's been several months, and it's that time. Summers happen. Maybe your child went to school over the summer, but now's a great time to look over what is supposed to be in your child's IEP, and address it with the school, and make sure you're aware of it. So, for example, has anything happened over the summer that may impact your child's IEP? Maybe did your child have a growth spurt? Perhaps your child may have picked up on, mastered a new skill, picked up a new interest. Anything could have happened. It could be something really great. It could be something traumatizing. Maybe someone may have passed away. But any of these things can have an effect on your child's IEP. It's good to know what's already in your child's IEP, and so when your child starts school, you can address these concerns and, at the very least, monitor them. Monitor how your child is responding in light of whatever success, trauma, or whatever your child may have experienced during the school, during the summer. I like to stay on a positive note, but things happen, tragedy happens. These are all things that, it may not necessarily feel directly related to your child's disability, but it can manifest in many ways. Sometimes behaviors, sometimes they may push away from their work. The thing is you want to kind of get ahead of it before it becomes an issue and, everyone's scrambling to pick up the pieces. Also, the reason why you want to review your child's IEP is because, for example, is your child prepared to meet the challenges that were in the previous IEP? What were their challenges? Did you see any of this manifest over the summer? Are the services in place to help your child address those challenges. So maybe nothing necessarily crazy, eventful happened over the summer. Maybe you're just looking at, this was an issue last year. We talked about it. We said we would have A, B, and C ready. Is A, B, and C prepared? So this could look a number of ways. It could be a matter of just writing a letter to your child's case manager, maybe reaching out to the teacher. And I don't know if the teachers are responding to emails at this point, but at the very least, you want to know what were the challenges, and maybe even just making a checklist. Maybe at this point, you don't talk to anybody. Maybe you make a checklist of things that you want to address at the beginning of the year. Not to nag, not to, get on anybody's case. It's just like, hey, this is a new school year. We wanna do the best we can, hit the ground running. We discussed this. Is this prepared? And then, obviously, as the school year goes, you'll see how these things play out. But it's good to know that, that the team knows that you're also thinking about your child, these things, what was discussed in the previous IEP and the various challenges. Another question that reviewing your IEP may answer, do you know what services your child was supposed to receive? And where are those services in place? So we kind of talked about if your child's prepared to work on these challenges, but this kind of goes hand in hand with those services. So we've heard throughout the news there have been teacher shortages, staff shortages in the school. Are these services still available? Not to say that you won't get them, but you want to be prepared. You don't want to figure out 3 weeks, a month in that a particular service or a teacher or whatever aid that your child was supposed to be receiving so that they could access the general curriculum is not in place because of whatever reason. So it's good to kind of get ahead of this, and if possible, try to brainstorm and solve that problem. So we're starting off with reviewing the IEP. So we're going to talk about the next tip: review school policies. Yes, you want to know if there's been any policy changes. What are the types of, is there anything in that policy that may affect your child's day-to-day, school experience? Maybe your child has a particular behavior that is triggered, maybe, and I'm just speaking hypothetically, maybe your child may, when they get hungry, they might exhibit a particular behavior that might be considered troubling or may go against the school policy. How is that behavior perceived from the school? Do they understand that your child's that the reason why this behavior is manifesting? Why is your child necessarily at this particular time? Has this been monitored? Do you know this? And what does this have to do with policy? Well, maybe if your child is used to, if your child gets hungry, and maybe your response to that is, okay, at such and such time, give them a snack. This will delay the behavior. Now, it doesn't have to be like, an unhealthy snack or something, but whatever it is a particular, it's a snack or something that will help, delay that behavior, because at that whatever time, when your child starts to feel this way, they act this way. So, maybe this is something that you've discovered. So perhaps the teacher, okay, well, here's a bag of carrots, or maybe, it might not even be a snack. Maybe it's a matter of taking a walk. So going back to policy, what does that have to do with policy? Maybe the new policy is no eating in class. Maybe the new policy is no wandering the halls. So, but because your child has a disability that manifests when certain actions happen, does that they may need to take that walk. they may need to, maybe have that snack. So, okay. So, the first thing you probably will want to do is make sure that you understand this policy. Reach out to the IEP team and talk about, look, I don't want my child to get in trouble. We don't want to necessarily break any rules. But as you can see from his IEP, from his or her behavior plan, these are the solutions that we have to help manage this behavior. How are we going to do this? One solution may be, okay, well, if that's snack, then go to the cafeteria. One issue may come up, well, does that take away from their school time? So there's a number of things that you want to this is why I'm saying look at these things now. Because, okay, they go to the cafeteria, they have their snack, they come back to the classroom. Perhaps they may need to take that walk. Maybe they need somebody to walk with them if that's an issue with a violation of the policy. Or maybe they have a note that's written that will give them permission, so somebody who may not know your child can receive this note and realize that, okay, this is been okayed by the IEP team. Go about your day. So things of that nature. But if it's not, sometimes if you don't know that it's a policy issue, you may not know to put things in place to make sure that this does not become a penalty against your child. So that's why we suggest review school policies, because sometimes over the the end of the school year, people are ready. You're kind of like, okay, school's out, whatever, and then school comes back. Oh yeah, they put in a new policy because such and such happened. So it's just good to know, just to review the policies and also know how to find the policies. So like is the policy online? Is this something you need to request? Maybe you might want to request this before the start of school. Or at the very least, add it to your checklist. Request policy. But in any of these things, you want to have that on your radar. So the next thing I want to also discuss, which I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, is to reviewing the school directory. Why is this important? Well, because again, admin changes. Admin changes happen all the time for whatever reason. Maybe someone had a baby. Maybe there was an accident. Maybe somebody retired. Maybe someone just found a new job. People leave positions for all sorts of reasons. But sometimes when you're, a student, maybe that person who left that position was an ally of your child. Maybe they had certain information about your child. Did they, you want to know where they may be, or what, at the very least, if is there anything documented that they have, about your child, which typically may be in the IEP. Maybe it might be in some notes, but if they're not there, you can't really ask them. They're not going to give you the number of the caseworker that left, because the privacy issues, and that caseworker has gone on to their new position. So that leaves you to kind of figure out what information that they have, and it will be your role to either convey it to the IEP team or convey it to the next caseworker. Because the new caseworker may have notes. It may be old information. It may be new information. But either way, you want to make sure that the information is correct. So, kind of reviewing the directory is, I would say, kind of, important. Usually you can find this information on the school website. At the very least, you want to know at least who is part of that IEP team. Sometimes the school, and there are cases where the school lets you know that such and such teacher is no longer with us, but if that doesn't happen, you want to kind of know who's who and who do you need to talk to. So we also point out, I also point out, you also want to make sure, are the key decision makers the same? Did you get a new principal? Again, was there a case manager change? Did something happen where, was there a change in superintendent? Usually those are big stories, but at the very least, if there are changes like that have been made, you want to know about them, because ultimately they affect, how and, when and even if your child's going to receive their services. I would say reviewing the school directory is, I would say, kind of a key thing to do as you're preparing for the back to school. Also, you also want to see who's new. Did they get new, case managers? How do I contact them? If this is a new person, let me introduce myself, especially if they're going to be part of my child's IEP team. So, moving on, ramp up your advocacy skills. So what do we mean by that? You want to know what your rights are. You want to know, and more importantly, you want to be able to locate the information that will tell you what your rights are. Although every parent whose child is receiving an IEP is supposed to receive a copy of procedural safeguards, it's 20 pages, so you're not going to remember all that information. But you want to be able to locate it, especially if there are concerns that you're having. Like, for example, some parents, maybe they want to have their child evaluated, and they want to know what their rights are around that. Maybe they don't agree with the evaluation. Maybe they want their child reevaluated. What are your rights around evaluation? Maybe your child has discipline issues. What are your child's rights in regards to special education and school discipline? And just a number of things that come up that you want to at least be able to locate the document that kind of gives you what your rights are. We also suggest, let's say you do get this document. Do you know what this stuff means? Do you know where you can go for help? So in our case, again, Family Resource Center on Disabilities, we train parents to navigate the law in special education. How do we do this? We do this through free webinars and workshops. And these webinars are on topics that focus on the overall special education system. We have trainings on navigating the IEP. So like if you're struggling to understand your child's IEP or your role in the IEP meeting, we have a whole training that we offer families that they can join a webinar, ask questions of our parent trainers who have been doing this well over 30 years. We offer trainings. Let's say your child's getting ready to go to high school and prepare for adulthood. We offer training on transition to post-secondary life. So what should be in your child's transition plan? What are they preparing for? How much should your child be participating in that meeting? So what is in that transition plan? Is it a cookie cutter transition plan that will provide little benefit to your child once they complete high school, or are there some real or does it have some real teeth that will help that student genuinely prepare for that next phase of their life, whether it be go to college, work, maybe they might be in a day program, all of those things. So we provide a presentation on preparing for transition. We have trainings or webinars on discipline, understanding the behavioral intervention plan. So we highly encourage you to visit our website at www.frcd.org to check out our latest trainings. You can also join our newsletter. And that's just for the training aspect. But let's say you have very specific questions about your child's IEP. All right? So like a training, yeah, that's nice, that's an overview, but like what about if there's a specific situation where, my child needs more minutes for reading, or my child needs PT, physical therapy, and they're taking that away. Or what do they mean when they say consulting minutes? How does that affect my child's IEP or the type of assistance that they'll be receiving? So you can call our number at 312-939-3513, and we'll connect you with one of our parent trainers, and they can go through your child's IEP with you. We ask that you read the IEP first, even if it doesn't make sense. Just go through it first. And our parent trainer will sit down and whether it's virtual. We are doing some in person depending on the situation. Or over the phone, we'll go through that IEP with you. So that, and then also, while we focus on all disabilities, you can also, I would say, there's parent groups, depending on what your child's disability is. Typically, there is a foundation or a organization that specializes on that disabilities. Like, for example, the Epilepsy, I think it's the Epilepsy Foundation in Chicago. I may be getting their name wrong, but their focus is all things epilepsy. So let's say you have a child with epilepsy. There might be things in the IEP that the school may not necessarily understand about epilepsy, but it's affecting your child adversely where they cannot access the curriculum due to their disability. Epilepsy Foundation, they have experts that can reach out, that can help you work with your child's IEP team to make sure that your child is receiving the appropriate services so that they can access the general curriculum and receive their free, appropriate public education. So in that sense, and then also, from time to time, visit the Illinois Board of Education website. We often refer to it as ISBE, which stands for Illinois Board of Education, but ISBE.net, ISBE.net. A lot of times, right on the front page, if there's key things that they want, if there's policy changes or messages from the superintendent, all of that, not superintendent, but messages from the the Illinois State Board of Education, it's going to be right on the front page. And then there's also a section for students who are receiving IEPs, where you can also look and find additional resources. And if there's any new types of guidances that have come out that may affect your child. So that is also a great way to advocate and locate information. One thing I do not suggest is trying to memorize everything. You're just going to frustrate yourself. And when you try to apply all this information, it's just going to make things more frustrating for you. But the important thing is knowing where to find information and knowing who you can talk to, and having someone to talk to when things don't quite make sense. Again, we're not attorneys, but we can certainly help you come up with solutions to work with the school. Many of our parent trainers have been doing this for well over 20 years, 30 years, so they've seen it all. So, and that, yes, ramp up your advocacy skills. So, the next one, and I would say one of the most important, is a child check-in. It is great to have, you've looked at your directory, you've looked at your child's IEP, you've gotten your team, your support team together, whether it's us or friends or, your own advocates. All of that stuff is great. And you may even have an amazing plan to implement this foolproof plan. No plan is foolproof, but a plan to, tackle this school year. But one of the things is you want to check in with your child. Because I don't care what services you put in place, if your child is not feeling it, these services may not work. So not to say that your child has to agree with everything you're doing, but it's a lot more, I would say, it'll be more effective if your child is on board and they feel a part of this process. So what do I mean by child check-in? How is your child feeling about the new school year? It's a simple question, a basic question. You can sometimes you can kind of just gauge as like, when you're going to gauge when you are, getting school supplies. Are they excited about getting school supplies? Are they nervous? Do they shrug it off? So you kind of want to have a feeling as to how do they feel about the school year. What are what are they looking forward to? So maybe they like, what is it they like about school? Is it meeting their friends? Is it the new classes? Is it a specific class? What is it that, is exciting them about school? Because this is something that you could use in times of adversity. So if there's something they like about school, if there's something that they have to do that they don't like, this might be the thing that pushes them forward. The other thing is, what are they dreading? Is it, I'm really bad at math. Last year I got bullied, or maybe something happened over the summer, and they're nervous about going to school about it. Or is it maybe the school year didn't go so great for them last year, and they're not feeling confident that it's going to do well this year. So either way, how are they feeling about it? And at the very least, is there something that that you can do to make them feel supported? Because bad things are going to happen. Kids are going to run into bad people. And then also, when I find kind of interesting, like, in cases, maybe your child was bullied last year. Maybe your child was a bully. These things, how are they feeling about, these situations? So, addressing this going in, can be, really helpful. At the very least, it's something you can prepare for. Maybe prepare the IEP team for, and prepare your child for. And then, asking them, what if they're feeling anxiety, what do they think they need to feel more prepared? It sounds corny, but it's a legitimate question. What do they think they need? And honestly, they may not even know. Be prepared for, I don't know what I need, but I'm nervous about going to school. Okay, so maybe that it might be a thing. Maybe it might be, okay, maybe, let's hear. We're going to jot down some notes. We're going to get through the first day. We're going to come home. We're going to assess and then figure out how we're going to tackle tomorrow. It may be something as simple as we're just going to take it day by day. Maybe they may know. It's like, look, I haven't been sleeping well. I get tired at such and such time. Is there anything we can do about my schedule? Or, maybe I might need more time. I'm struggling with this particular test, and like the time that they're allowing me is not enough. Maybe the student needs more tutoring. It could be a number of things, and they don't always have to be academic. But whatever it is, kind of gauging how your child feels, if they feel like they have a plan, if they feel like they got a support system, okay, if this happens to me, I know I can call mom, I can call grandma, I can call my brother. Not necessarily during school, but when they get home. So these are just a couple of things that I feel that, or we feel, that will be helpful to you, as you start this new school year. Just a couple of tips to prepare for that back to school. Again, my name is Paula Wills. I'm the Outreach Coordinator at Family Resource Center on Disabilities. If you have questions or even additional tips that you think we should share, definitely give us a call at 312-939-3513. Thank you and have a wonderful week.